Hey, it's Gabriel and welcome you to what? If it's your first time here, please do well to subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to click on that notification bell to get notified anytime I upload new video. Well, for YouTube to suggest my video to a lot of people out there, the only thing you need to do is to click on that like button, because together we can save lives. Oh yeah, the time says it all. Today I'm going to talk about 10 weird diseases that you can find here on our planet. Well, you'll be surprised that I know of number 5 before I started medicine, but just that I never knew it was a weird disease. And I think it's 1 out of 10,000 people that have this kind of disease. So yeah, at least I know one weird disease. I've seen it before and then I'll talk about it. It's number 5, don't forget about it. So let's get straight into it now. This is Abraham Lincoln, right? The 16th president of the United States of America, who was also a lawyer who was actually assassinated. Poor for him. But tell me again, why did you add this picture to the video? I should guess. Well, my guess, he had Muffin Syndrome, just like Niccolo Paganini, who was actually an Italian violist and composer. Well, today is not about history, so let's leave that for the historians. Today I'm going to talk about Muffin Syndrome. Muffin Syndrome is an inherited disorder which affects the connective tissues. Connective tissues are actually fibers that support and anchor our organs and structures in our body. Well, it can affect the heart, the vessels, the eyes, and sometimes our skin. People with Muffin Syndrome are very tall and slim. That doesn't mean have Muffin Syndrome, because they actually have long fingers, long toes, and then flat feet. Ectoopia cordis is a rare genetic deficit which happens during the baby's development in utero. This is actually a situation where the baby's chest walls are not formed correctly. It means they don't join together, and so it leaves the heart hanging outside, and so the heart does not form where it's supposed to be formed, inside the chest wall. It can be complete where the baby's heart is totally outside the body, and it can also be partial where a part of the baby's heart is actually outside the body. Luckily, it can be seen with ultrasound 10 to 11 weeks into the pregnancy. Well, even though treatment measures are actually limited for this kind of deficit, a lot of surgery techniques can be adopted to put back the heart where it belongs. Well, you agree with me that the brain is divided into 2 hemispheres, the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. Wait until you know about Cyclopia. Cyclopia is actually a situation where your front part of the brain does not cleave into the 2 hemispheres, the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. The most obvious symptom is that the baby will be having 1 eye, or sometimes 2 eyes just joined together at a point. Well, that's not what's actually happening. The most obvious thing that's happening is that the front part of the brain does not cleave into 2 hemispheres. The baby might not have nose, or can also have a nose-like structure, what we call the proboscis. This condition is not compatible with life. It means we cannot live with it. Neither can you prevent it, nor can we treat it. Luckily, it happens to 1 out of 100,000 babies, including stillbirths. Diprosopos is a rare life-threatening deficit. I can say it's a subtype of conjoined twins. Well, it's partial or complete duplication of the face on 1 single head, on 1 neck, 1 trunk, in fact,
1 body with 2 faces. Just like you see it in the image right beside me.
It can be associated with other congenital anomalies like cardiovascular deformation, respiratory deformation, and central nervous system deformation. There's something about the number 5 you guys need to know. When I was actually doing the research, and then I came by the image, I realized that now this image, I've seen this thing on the body of an individual before. And I realized now I've seen this thing somewhere before. Yeah, then I remembered that I actually saw this thing when I was back in the village. But thank God to medicine, I actually know something about it now. So it's actually called the Helical Ichthyosis or Helical Type Ichthyosis. This is again a rare disorder which actually affects the skin. Now, ichthyosis itself is actually a congenital skin disorder. Well, this type of ichthyosis, known as the harlequin, is a type that actually keeps the skin dried. It means all the time the skin is dried and scaly, just like the scale of a fish. Well, among newborn babies, how do we identify that the baby is having a Helical type ichthyosis? The baby's skin is actually covered with a diamond-shaped like dried skin, which just look like the scale of a fish. Well, it actually has an effect on the baby. It prevents the baby from eating properly, that's opening the mouth, and sometimes breathing. So that's how it looks like. But an image on the screen can tell you more about this rare congenital disorder. Since the baby cannot breathe, that's why there is a need for an immediate intensive care. Well, it's a very severe condition, but advanced medicine has helped improve greatly the look of these babies born with these conditions. Hutchinson-Gilford Progeria syndrome, what's actually known as aging syndrome among babies. This is a rare genetic condition which is characterized by a dramatic appearance of aging among babies, that's in their early childhood. The affected children actually look normal at childbirth and sometimes at infancy, but they grow more slowly as compared to other children, and sometimes they do not gain weight at the expected rate. They develop a characteristic facial appearance. Just look at the image right beside me. They have this protruding eye, prominent ears, thin lips, pointed nose, and then small chin. AGPS can cause alopecia, aged looking skin, abnormalities of the joints, and loss of fats under our skin. Just like hypertrophy syndrome, it has no effect intellectually, but when it affects your blood vessels, it can cause stroke at young age and sometimes heart attack at young age because it hardens your vessels. Lewandowski Lutz dysplasia, what's popularly known as the human tree. Wait, Lewandowski is a footballer, right? Yeah, he plays for Bayern Munich. Well, this is not Lewandowski. This is actually what we call epidermodysplasia verruciformis. It's a rare inherited genodermatosis characterized by chronic infection of the human papilloma virus, leading to polymorphosis cutaneolesion and high risk of developing non-melanoma cancer. Although permanent cure cannot be achieved, surgical excision is a treatment of choice. Well, there are some activities that actually expose us to this kind of condition, and so you should avoid them, like exposure to sunlight. And also, remember to apply photo protection anytime you find yourself in the sunlight. What you see on your screen is not an octopus. Well, even though it's an animal, this is a higher form of an animal, an individual. Well, this person could be suffering from what you call polymelia. Now, polymelia is a rare birth deficit in which an individual has more than the number of limbs a normal individual must have. Well, in this case of deficit, the other limbs added to the normal limbs are actually deformed. They are of longer shape other than the normal shape we need to see. And in most cases, they are more than or usually 5. Luckily, this can be detected with ultrasound during pregnancy. This is the reason why if you are pregnant and your time is due for ultrasound, do well to go for it, because ultrasound helps detect if your child is healthy or not. Thank you very much for having time with me. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video and share. Very important thing is you should comment on the video. Which of these diseases do you think never existed and then you realize that they existed in my video? Just comment it if it's number 6, number 7, number 8. Thank you once again for having time with me, and this has been it. See you guys in the next one.